Hello, welcome to my knitting channel. My name is Abby, and this is going to be a bit of a short and sweet episode compared to my other videos because we are leaving on a trip soon and we are doing a bunch of stuff to prep for that. But I wanted to show you what I've been working on. I do have a couple of FOs, so I'll start with those as usual. So the first one is my handspun muscle burra hat. I finished this a bit ago. I really just watched some TV and cranked this out and finished it. As I'm sure you are aware, it is quite a long hat, so it took a long time, I feel like, to complete it. But it's finished and I'll try it on to show it to you. So here it is. I think it fits really well. The brim is nice and wide. I knit it quite a few extra inches than the pattern called for. I didn't measure exactly because I was just using up what I had of my handspun skein, but I do tend to knit the muscle burrs a little bit longer than the pattern says, just so I can get a really nice wide brim and have some options for how I want to wear it. As for this one, I'll probably pretty much always wear it like this. I think it'll be really nice in the winter because it's so thick. It'll keep me nice and toasty, which I am right now, so I'm going to take it off. I was definitely glad to get this off the needles because it had been a whip for quite a while. It was just my stockinette plain easy knitting project during meetings or when I was reading or when I was just really tired at the end of the day but wanted to work on something. So it is finally done. Next FO I have is another orange and green project. These are the socks that I've been working on. This is the Zauberflower in the colorway Herbmeister. And I talked about how I was working on these to try to get orange and green in both socks. Obviously they both have green, but I was working one sock from the center and one sock from the outside. And my plan was to switch halfway through so that I could get more of a striping effect rather than just the pure gradient. I did do that and it did not look good. So we made an executive decision to not move forward with that plan, and I just knit them following the gradient that it came as in the cake. And I think they turned out really nice. We both like them. I knit them for my partner, which is why they are quite large. I knit these on a US 0. 68 stitches is my usual because they do stretch a little bit with wear, so I make them a little bit smaller. And then I also knit them toe up with a heel flap and gusset. I just found a free pattern on Ravelry that gave me all the numbers for how to do that, so I'll link that below. I think it was called like Brenda's toe up socks or something like that. So thanks, Brenda. But yeah, they turned out really nice. I just did a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then the rest is just in stockinette. And they took a while, as big socks tend to do, but again, I was happy to get these off the needles and start some new projects. And I have not blocked these yet, but I think that's fine. To show them off, I'll block them at some point. They can't be worn yet, so they're just going to sit here in the pile. And then for the black, I just used some Knitting for Olive merino that I had left over from another project for the toes and the heel flap and heel turn. Moving on to whips, first up is an update on my sheep camp sweater. Last time I showed this to you, I had just finished the yoke. And I've made a little bit of progress beyond that, just working on the stockinette body. So here she is. It obviously wants to curl at the bottom there, but there's kind of an accurate representation of what I've gotten done. So I got through this amazing yoke that was so much fun to do, and now I'm just in boring stockinette land, but it's nice for when I'm reading and in meetings, that sort of thing. It kind of takes up that just easy, plain project. So yeah. This is the Sheep Camp sweater by Jennifer Berg. I am knitting this along with many others for the Sibling Energy Sheep Camp cowl that's going on through the end of September or the start of September. I can't remember. So I definitely need to continue working on this. I'll probably pick it back up in August when we're back, because I don't want to take this huge project with me on our trip. Plus it's pretty hot to work on, so I have not been reaching for this, but I'm sure I'll make some progress on this and get it done before the end of the cowl. So the yarn that I'm using is, for the main color, Cascade BFL in the colorway Nimbus Cloud. It's a DK weight. It's a pretty nice yarn. It's a little bit scratchy. Hopefully it'll soften up just a little bit, but I think it's a really nice color to go with the contrast, which is Spin Cycle dyed in the wool in the colorway Ghost Ranch. And I really liked the version of this colorway that I got in the mail. I didn't pick it out in person. I took a risk and I ordered it online. I actually ordered 2 skeins. This was the second one, and they both looked really similar. So that was nice in case I needed a second, but I ended up finishing the yoke with the full single skein, so I didn't need to break into this one. But this is how it looked, or very similar to how it looked when I received it. So that is how that worked out. And yeah, it's such a good yoke. I know everyone who's knitting this is just like loving it. It's so much fun to knit. It's really simple and intuitive to knit. I am knitting the second size, or size B, in the pattern, which is 42 3/4 inches for the bust. And so that's about just under 7 inches of positive ease on me for reference. And I did try it on. As soon as I split for the sleeves, it fits really well. So no modifications, just followed the pattern exactly. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think the timing of this cowl, at first I was a little bit surprised and I wasn't sure if I wanted to cast on such a heavyweight sweater. But then I realized that you finish the sweater right before going into the fall weather, so it's actually going to be perfect. And yeah, I think this one is just such a cool sweater. Next, I cast on another muscle burra to fill that void in my knitting life. So here's where I'm at. This is fun. So I cast this on for our upcoming trip because I wanted something small, portable, and mindless, and also something that I could just knit a lot on and it wouldn't matter where I was at. I think the muscle burra is perfect for that type of project, and I also think it's one of the best patterns for just kind of your basic beanie that is pretty similar to what you would get with like a commercial beanie. And it's just endless stockinette, which yeah, it can get a little bit boring, but like I mentioned, for trips, for mindless knitting, it's just the perfect project. So this is a neon beanie. This is a Cascade Heritage in the colorway Highlighter Yellow, which it is. So you can see I've just made it past the crown increases, and so now I'm ready to just work around and around on the plane and in transportation and all of that. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I don't know where this came from. I just wanted to make this, so I'm making it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to wear. Like, I'm envisioning an all black outfit with this. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So just barely got this started and got it in a state that's good for the trip. And we'll see how much progress I make on the trip. I feel like I always think I'm gonna knit a lot and end up knitting very little, so we'll see. And then as for sizing, I'm knitting this on US 2.75 millimeter needles, and this is fingering weight yarn, and I'm making the adult medium. This next cast on is really exciting because I've been talking about it and I've been spinning for it. So this is my hand spun Traveler hoodie by Andrea Mallory. I cast on using the tubular cast on, and then there's 2x2 ribbing for the bottom, and then you just get right into the iconic stitch pattern, which is pretty fun to do. it's really simple, but I think it's pretty engaging as well. So I've been having a fun time working on this, usually in the evenings when I'm trying to relax. And yeah, I really like how the colors are turning out. So I am using this skein of hand spun. I spun 2-ply, short forward draft. I aimed for about a sport weight since that's what the pattern calls for, and I got about that, kind of a sport to DK weight. And then I also spun this other skein, plied with a black ply, and what I'm doing is kind of interspersing this skein while I work with this one. So I am carrying this skein up the side and sort of catching the yarn every few rounds to make sure that it is kind of locked in and hidden there on the inside. And then just every now and then, whenever I feel like it, I'll just pick up that other skein and start working with it and just add a couple of like darker stripes throughout. So I think it's distributed pretty nicely, and I think it's looking really good. It's funny, some of these like darker stripes, like this one for example, you might think is the other skein, but that's actually just from the main skein. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job at making it look like it is just kind of one variegated skein. I went down a needle size to get gauge, and I am working on the second size, or the 42-inch bust. And it is knitting up a little bit faster than I expected it to be honest. And of course I'm loving seeing the colors as they work up. I posted on Instagram that I had just bound off all of my green and orange projects, and I was moving on to whatever this aesthetic is, and somebody said Neon Swamp Witch. So you are spot on. I'm in my Neon Swamp Witch era. I am still steadily spinning along for this project. I am using fiber from the Indie Dyer Blue Savannah in the colorway Fall Leaves, and the Indie Dyer Wee Chickadee in the colorway Forever Ago. And I'm doing a combo spin, so I am spinning one full braid of one color and then another full braid of the other color and plying them together. So I completed this bobbin. I'm spinning on my electric eel wheel 6, and then I got a little bit into this bobbin and started having issues with my e-spinner. So this is something that I'll talk about once I figure out exactly what's going on and get it resolved. It should be fixable, but it did really kind of take the wind out of my sails. And I know that Tour de Fleece is happening and everyone's into spinning, and I was so into it, and as soon as Tour de Fleece happened, the day that it started is when I had my e-spinner issues, and I just really got demotivated to spin. And even though I can still spin, just that one issue kind of, I don't know, I just really didn't want to do it. So I instead have been sewing, but I will definitely return. I will get back to this, and you know, I've made a lot of progress. I don't have a whole lot to go on this bobbin before I comply and make up another skein, so I'll return to it shortly. But yeah, that definitely kind of stalled my progress on this. I will chat about my sewing in just a minute. I have a few FOs to share, but I also wanted to talk about future projects. So for this upcoming trip, I am bringing the neon musselburgh, as I mentioned. I think I'm going to take a second project, but I don't want to take a big bulky sweater. I just don't have room for that, and I don't think I'll work on anything because it's going to be incredibly hot and humid. So I'm thinking about casting on a pair of socks just so that I have like a different project to work on, but it's still small, portable, easy to work on. So I'm thinking about casting on a pair of socks with this coast to coast yarn. This is their superwash merino nylon base, and it's in the colorway split pea. It was part of their soup sock set or soup sock club that they did a while back. So yeah, this is a really nice green, and it's got like speckles of browns and like some rusty oranges, and then there's also some like lighter kind of cream colors in there. So I think this would make a really fun pair of variegated socks. I might do like a simple pattern. I haven't decided, but right now I'm thinking a sock project is probably gonna fit the bill the best for this upcoming trip. So I'll probably cast that on soon or figure out what I'm doing with that. And then yeah, sewing. I have a few projects that I've been working on, a couple things for this trip that I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring. I've been working a lot with wovens, and then I also have a knit dress that I sewed recently. So let me go grab those and I'll show them to you. All right, so here's the palette that we're working with. I'll start with this green dress because this was the first thing I made. If you did not know, I am pretty new to garment sewing, and I recently got a used serger, which has been a game changer. So it's been really fun to use, and I feel like I can make some really nice quality garments now. So this first is a linen dress. This is the CeeLo dress by Closet Core. It is just a fairly simple short sleeve, basically t-shirt dress with these pockets, and I shortened it by about 3 inches, and I just made it in this like olive green linen that was, I think, a Robert Kaufman fabric that I bought from Harmony Fabrics, I believe. So yeah, this was a fun, pretty simple project to work on. I've worn it a few times. It's really nice to wear in the hot weather, and I opted for the bias binding neckline, which I think looks nice for this dress. And then you can see my serge seams. I only have white thread right now, so that's what I'm working with, but luckily you can't really see it once the dress is on. And I made this in the size 6 with the C bust darts. I think that I didn't really need the C cup bust darts. The normal bust darts would have been fine. So when I made it a second time, this is the t-shirt version. I think this is view A. I opted for just the normal bust darts, and I think that was totally fine. So this is some linen cotton fabric that I picked up from my local fabric store, and yeah, just made the t-shirt version. I did not crop it. It's already quite cropped, so it was a good length on me. And then I also opted for the normal neck facing, and they have you use interfacing for that, so I think it looks really nice, and I like that option for the t-shirt. And then my last FO, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm not going to try them all on just because I don't have time to do that and edit it all, but this is the True Bias Zoe. It's a tank or a dress, so this is view C, the dress version, and I just did their classic v-neck. They do have a neckline expansion. They offer like a scooped and a square and like a higher crew neck, but I just opted for their v-neck. And yeah, this is a really long dress. It goes all the way basically to my ankles. I think it comes up a little bit shorter than my ankles, but I did shorten it by, again, about 3 inches to make sure that the length on me was the length that the dress is supposed to be, because I'm pretty short. Yeah, I used a relatively thick-ish cotton peak fabric that I also got from Harmony Fabrics. They're a nice place to get dead stock and like some cheaper options if you are just kind of trying some things out and trying to figure out what works for you. So yeah, this dress is really nice. I'm actually quite surprised with how well this came out. If you do decide to make this dress or top, I definitely recommend following their instructions to use the fusible tape, because that was a huge game changer. I made a toile without that, and as soon as I got done making that, I ordered the tape because it is so much easier to do the bindings if you have that in place. It just helps you out a lot. So definitely recommend that. When I made my toile, the fabric that I used to make that, the straps stretched out a lot. And so when I made this version, I shortened the straps by 1 inch. And that was actually a mistake. This fabric, like I mentioned, is a little bit thicker, maybe in like the 7 to 8 ounces weight, and it just doesn't need that. So it's actually a little tight and it's a little snug. So I am planning to make this dress again in a lighter weight jersey, and I'm gonna go up a size, and I'm also not going to modify anything. I'm just gonna make it to pattern and see how that goes. And I think that one might fit a little bit better, but this one's really nice. I think it's a little less casual because it's so tight fitting and it's a little bit thicker, and I really like the seam down the front, and then it does get wider as it goes down. So yeah, not doing the best at showing you it. And then the back is just a curved neckline. Yeah, I really like this pattern. Really liked the instructions for both the Closet Core and the True Bias patterns. They were excellent. I had no issues figuring anything out, and like I said, I'm a beginner, so yeah, but nothing was confusing. It was all nice, and yeah, been having a fun time sewing. I think it's nice because it's so toasty. I don't always want to work with wool, but at the same time, I have my iron on when I'm sewing, so it doesn't necessarily make that much better. But anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here. I will see you in the next update, and I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll be back soon. Bye.